Okay, Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey.
Okay. I'm going to stand up. How you doing? How are you? So I almost did, I wanted to change up how I dress for these events, and I was thinking very strongly about all black. And not only did my wife tell me that was a terrible idea and I couldn't pull it off, but then I thought, I've seen Jack in a lot of black recently.
Yeah.
And then I woke up, actually I saw you a couple hours ago and I said, wow, I'm really glad. So you two pull it off.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the last, are those the Yeezys?
They are.
Okay.
Now that we've
All right.
gotten through my outfit.
I know. Now the fashion portion of the interview is
Yeah,
done.
sorry.
I'm going to start. So, do you want to start on Twitter and get it out of the way, or shall I plague you later?
You can do whatever. My
Well,
mic-
let's start on
my
Twitter.
mic's not working, actually.
Is it? No, I can hear you. All right. So Twitter. Explain in detail and in triplicate, if you can, the buying process of Twitter that's going on right now.
I cannot.
All right. Secondly, do you feel responsible for Donald Trump being president? I'm just trying to do the easy ones.
America is responsible for Donald Trump being president.
But do you feel Twitter had some? What do you feel? What do you feel like? You know, here this guy is used. He's like a Twitter savant. So tell me what you think. And it's all over Saturday Night Live, and it's an interesting thing. But he really knows how to use the tools that you've provided him from your brain.
He does. He's known how to use it for quite some time. Yeah, I mean, I think it's an important time for the company and the service, and having the president-elect on our service, using it as a direct line of communication, allows everyone to see what's on his mind in the moment, and I think that's interesting. I think it's fascinating. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
So we're definitely entering a new world where everything is on the surface, and we can all see it in real time, and we can have conversations about it. So where does that go? I'm not really sure, but it's definitely been fascinating to learn from.
How do you feel?
Complicated, you know.
Okay.
I feel very proud of the role of the service and what it stands for, and everything that we've done, and that continues to accelerate every single day, especially as it's had such a spotlight on it through his usage and through the election. But the elections have always been big on Twitter. Our first election was 2008.
Yeah, but this is
with Obama.
unprecedented, the use of your tool. And what's the complicated part?
The complicated part is just what does this mean to have like a direct line to how he's thinking in real time, and to see that. I'm not sure, and there's we certainly play a big part in distributing news and opinions and what people think about what's going on in the world. We have a role and responsibility to make sure that people are seeing what they need to see, and they can have easy conversations and really get to the truth. And that's complicated. So we're learning as quickly as we can, and that's the complicated part, is we have to learn even faster now.
You're done?
No, I'm not done yet at all. I could go on for hours.
I was going to jump in with a Twitter question of my own, but I mean,
This is Code Commerce, by the way.
It is Code Commerce. Yeah, good reminder. We can talk about Twitter commerce. Would that be no? So I mean, I think obviously it's been about a year and a half or so since you, if I have my timeline right, became CEO of, nope, that's not right. It's been about a year since you became permanent CEO of Twitter as well as Square. And in that time, Square's gone public with seemed to be like a little bit of a target on its back, in that you have this big valuation. There's a lot of talk about overvalued private companies, and then your pricing didn't necessarily work out from the start the way you wanted. Now, in the year since, you've beat expectations by Wall Street quarter after quarter, raised guidance, seem to be in a really good place, or a stable place at Square. Still a lot of room for growth, still questions, but a stable place. So the question I get a lot from smart people who think I have smart answers, I don't, is wouldn't this be a time for a smart time or a right time for Jack to maybe be chairman of Square and step back as a strong leadership team and then focus on Twitter? And I never have a good answer because I don't have a direct line to you. So
basically, how long are you going to keep doing 2 jobs?
I don't have a specific time frame. I want to be measured by our results, and our results ultimately come down to, do people want to use our products, and do they want to use them more and more? And we're showing that at both companies, yes, there is an acceleration of usage. People value it, and we're seeing that every single day around every aspect of the product. So my intention is to serve both companies in every way I know how, and to make sure that we are really focused on what's most important for each. And I think my skill in that is getting us to simplicity, focusing on what's essential, making sure that we're really customer first and focused, and we're doing it. It's, at Twitter it takes time, and Square is a year as a public company, and I'm really proud of the transition. But we still have a lot to do, and still a lot I feel I can really contribute a ton to.
As CEO.
What are the specifics of what you think you still bring and will continue to bring to Square as CEO versus as chairman that are keeping you in that role?
Well, I think as chairman, you don't see the day-to-day. You don't see the operational aspects of the company, and I think it's so important to not just opine on the direction, but actually to see it through. And I really love the details of our work, and you miss that from a board level. And I think those details matter so much, and really, why the details matter. And it's hard to get a grasp of that from a board level. I want to spend my time walking around the office and hearing conversations I could never schedule, because it makes me think in a completely different way, and sitting down with the team and then just actually looking at what we're doing, and hopefully simplifying it, or even just cross-pollinating some of the ideas to other teams. I think that's a big function of the CEO, and then the team as well. And I'm really proud of the team at both companies. But there's still work to do, and I still have some gaps that I want to fill at both companies, and that feels better. But this is not something that I ever feel is going to have an endpoint or be complete.
So let's talk a little bit about Square and what's happening to its business now. Now, we just had Jennifer Bailey on, and I'm going to set you up for something. Your relationship with Apple Pay.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, we love it.
What do you have to tell us,
Well,
Jack?
we have some things, but Apple Pay, as Jennifer indicated, one of the things that we've been pushing more towards is authenticated payments. So there's 2 manifestations of it. EMV is the underlying technology behind both.
When you say for people who might not be deep in payments right now, when you're talking about authenticated payments, you're talking about what?
Secure. So there's a chip card implementation, which is the thing that a lot of people hate because of the time it takes to transact. Industry average is about 11 seconds. We got our reader down to 4 seconds, which is meaningful because you get to see more customers. But NFC is the other manifestation of EMV and the standard, and that's sub-second transaction time. So we love that, and we're working with Apple to make sure that we can help change some of the behavior. And it's not something you can just do from one side of the counter. It has to be both. So we've been looking at high-density environments like Coachella, where we got the tap rate and Apple Pay rate up to 14%, where the industry average is about 1%. By putting more
total transactions.
Yeah, of all transactions, including cash, 14% were Apple Pay. The market out here, I know we're in San Francisco, but the market out here is 24%. The Kanye West stores, the pop-up shops in Texas, were 15%. So we see this growing, and if we can get to 15%, we can get to 30, and if we can get to 30, we can get to 70. And 70 is possible because the rest of the world is mainly tap. Australia, for instance, 70% of transactions are tap transactions. So we love that because of the speed, and we want to certainly do it from the seller side, but we also want to do it from the buyer side. So today we're announcing we have a product called Square Cash, and we've been evolving Square Cash for quite some time. We started with utility of peer-to-peer and people sending money to each other, and then we allowed people to store money at Square. So we have a stored value account that you can actually keep your money, and this is important for people who want to segment their finances from their bank account, or who don't have a bank account and just sign up and use that, which we have seen, which is important. And then we added a virtual card on that you could then add to Netflix.
This is a digital debit card.
Digital
or something
card.
Like that?
You could add to Netflix. You could spend it anywhere online. You could use it in Amazon, Lyft, Uber, wherever. And we also saw people take that card and they would forget their wallet and they would use the number on that card for card not present transactions. So we did the next thing, and today we're adding that card to Apple Pay. So as of right now in Square Cash, you can download Square Cash. You can get your virtual card. You can tap a button. It automatically adds to Apple Pay for the first time.
You have it, right? Correct?
Yeah. So I've been using this as my primary card for about 2 months, and this pulls from my Square Cash account, and I can use this anywhere that Apple Pay is accepted, anywhere that NFC is accepted.
Is that online and in store?
So I can use this on the web for Apple Pay, but I can also use it at
In a
Blue
physical
Bottle for
store.
coffee. In a
Right.
physical
So
store.
why, my big question, I saw the announcement, not the Apple Pay one, but another one recently when you were talking about people can now store money in Square Cash, and then people can link or create a digital card. What is the advantage of that versus, my whatever card, my debit card, my credit card?
It's crazy to think about, but people just want a more modern interface to their finances. And something that's simple and straightforward and modern really wins. So Square Cash is a very, very simple app that does one thing. It does it really well, which is peer-to-peer, and we've been adding more financial services on top of it as we go. So I would say it's really the ease, the simplicity, and we do have customers. We've seen customers who sign up without linking a bank account, without linking a credit card.
So how are they funding Square Cash?
They request money from their parents or their friends, and then they use this virtual card to spend at Netflix or Amazon.
So you're replacing what?
Bank
You're replacing
account.
a bank for them?
It might be a starter. I don't know if it's replacing it. We're definitely seeing that use case emerge, but it's not en masse yet. But it's interesting, and I think that's consistent with how Square approached it. We never saw ourselves as competitors to the banks or the card networks. We've partnered with them because what we saw was that people were being excluded from the system, and they were being excluded from the system because the only way that people could vet if I could accept credit cards was a FICO score. A lot of entrepreneurs just getting started had really terrible credit. When we started Square, I had credit card debt and really terrible credit. I would not be able to start accepting credit cards. So we changed that by applying machine learning to the problem, having a deeper understanding of the seller, and we're doing the same thing with Square Cash. So we're not competing with that entity. We're making it a whole lot more accessible and a whole lot more inclusive.
So you just said starter, which is interesting. It's people who don't have bank accounts, who don't necessarily have credit cards. This regular the main Square business, where you have small businesses using it. Can you talk about shifting it? I think of companies like Slack and others. How do you shift to the big transactions versus a cab driver or a pottery person, a food seller? How do you look at your business over time? Moving to the larger
To larger merchants.
to larger merchants,
To larger
because that's
merchants.
like, again, same thing with Slack, is when are they going to get in the big companies? When is that transition happening?
Well, that's already happened for us. I mean, we've seen 40 to 100 to 150 location merchants use Square, and to me that makes me really happy, because that means we're building a utility that scales. right? It doesn't matter what your ambition is, it scales
What
from
percent of your
individual.
business is this? It's mostly small to medium-sized businesses, correct?
Going up market and larger sellers is a growing part of our business.
I know
It's
you keep stressing, the company stresses it in earnings calls, but I know Wall Street seems to be latching on to whatever bait you'll give about, how you are scaling up to larger merchants.
Yeah, and it's just happened organically. So it's not a significant percentage, but it's a growing percentage of our business. And
How do you get that business? How do you convince those merchants?
it's been organic. People come to the website and we have a call me form, and our account management team reaches out, and so all of our larger sellers have come through the website organically.
And not you all reaching out to them?
We do not do proactive outreach to larger sellers.
Why not?
So, we haven't needed to. The majority of our growth has been organic, and that's remained constant through the start of the company.
I'm gonna go back to Square Cash for a second. I've been slightly obsessed with my coverage of Square about why you guys are still doing Square Cash, why you did Square Wallet at some point. A lot of people I talk to who worked with you know you well, talk about your love for consumer products and also sort of the idea of like a magic payment experience, which for some people is what Square Wallet was back in the day. You provide, core of your business is for merchants, but what is the business opportunity of having consumer products and mainly Square Cash?
Well, it's a longer term view, but the original reason we did Wallet is because we're not sellers, and it's really hard to build a product for someone that isn't you. It's really easy when you're building for yourself. And so there's always that desire to build something for ourselves. So the way we got around that is, how do we build for the customer of our customer, right? We're not sellers, we're not Blue Bottle, we're not Sight Glass Coffee, we're not the massage therapist, but we love these people and we want to help them, and we are their customers. So how do we create a great experience for them? And if we create a great experience for the customer of our customer, then they will benefit as well. Our customer will benefit. So Square Wallet came because we wanted it to have this feeling of, like, I want a tab open everywhere. I just want to be able to walk in, I want it to be secure, and I want to be able to say my name, and I want to give the seller a tool to recognize me, recognize that I'm a regular, recognize my name, recognize what I like, and treat me better, because that's going to build loyalty in me. That's it, and that's the experience we wanted to have, and that's why we built it. And the same thing was true for Square Cash. We had all these payment rails, and we found ourselves wanting to send money to each other, and there wasn't a way that we were really happy with. So we just built it, and it started with a hack. And what if we could, like, just by stating the fact that I'm sending you $5 is actually sent. So originally it was, I sent an email to Kara, like, it says $5 in the subject line,
Yep.
and $5 is sent, right? And that just feels
You never
amazing.
sent me money, but
I know. Yeah, I'm told not to.
He's short on it.
Yeah. Can I also go? So there's that business, and then you have a lot of potentially large businesses. Can you break down a little bit of how you look at each of the businesses? Square Capital, your delivery business that I'm sorry, don't get, and
You don't get delivery from them?
no,
You should try it.
no, I don't. But if you could explain where they fit into your vision of where Square is going, because there's a lot of moving pieces here, and some I don't quite understand where they fit in.
So
I understand capital, but please explain how you look at it.
we're kind of building around customer needs. So we started Square because we saw that people are being left out of the economy because they couldn't accept a credit card. They were not able to make the sale because they couldn't accept a credit card. And so we started with a simple, what do we need to help our sellers make the sale independent of payment device? And then we did that, and it worked. And then we asked the question, okay, how do we help them make more sales? What's the universe of solutions that help them make more sales? One is the register. Why the register? Because it gives them information about what they're selling. If they have information about what they're selling and how much they're selling of it, they can make better decisions about what to stock and what to invest in and what to market. Two is capital, access to capital, and fast access to capital. So one of the things we did is next day deposits, and then we created this product off the back of Square Cash called Instant Deposit, which we've now instant deposited $1 billion through that product in just the year it's been open, and that allows you to get access to your money instantly, right?
These are merchants you're talking about.
These are merchants. And then capital was a more proactive way of loaning people money. And the reason we want to do that is if I have capital, I can buy a new salon chair, or I can hire a new employee, or I can open an entirely new location. And then that gets me more sales. So then our model becomes really simple. If we help a seller grow, we grow. And if we grow, we can help more sellers. And that's really been behind everything that we do, including our delivery service,
All right,
Caviar.
let's fit this in, because I'm still
Our delivery service,
perplexed.
Caviar, the reason we bought Caviar in the first place is because restaurants have very specific needs. They have a restaurant point of sale, which usually has to do with reservations and table management. Super complex, not something we wanted to get into right away. They also have a constraint, which is the number of tables they have and how quickly they can turn those tables over. And delivery removes that constraint. So the problem with delivery is you have to hire the delivery staff and maintain them, and it's really complicated, all the logistics. You also have to take all the orders. So Caviar was a really unique model in that it was seller-focused, and that we could drive new sales to sellers. But also we were giving them this new superpower of being able to deliver their food anywhere. And for consumers, we had a really deep relationship with the restaurants, so we got really great restaurants in the markets that really mattered. So Caviar is a way to drive more sales to a restaurant seller, which is different from a service seller or different from a Blue Bottle.
What do you consider? There have been reports that you've considered or been approached about selling Caviar. Would you consider selling it? I know you.
No, we're really happy with it, and it's becoming a more and more significant part of our business. And I say business like Caviar is not a product, just a product, and Cash is not just a product. They're businesses. They're actually making money, and they're doing quite well. So we're in a position now where we have an ecosystem of businesses that actually help each other, and then when you use parts of them together, it becomes much stronger. So Caviar, for instance, we have restaurants who want to take a Square Capital loan to build out the kitchen so they can do more delivery, and thus more sales. And if they're a QSR, they can use our register.
Well, then did you envision in other areas besides restaurant delivery, other business helpers?
We focused on food a lot because food is so fundamental, and it's such a it's a transaction type that never goes away, and it's always kind of been part of our story. When we first launched, we were taken by the QSRs, the quick service restaurants, right away, so it felt really natural to build off of as a strength.
I have a ton more Cash questions, but I'm gonna.
I love that Cash thing. Anyway, let's
yeah.
get for questions from the audience, then we'll keep asking. So let's start here, and then we'll keep going for just a little bit right here.
Yeah, you, Mark. Tell us who you are.
Hi, Mark Gurman, Bloomberg News. Hi, Jack, Kara, Jason.
So weird hearing that, but go ahead.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Two questions. Any plans for the new virtual credit card on Android Pay? And second, given that you're a technology company first rather than sort of like a bank getting into the credit cards, do you find that Square has an opportunity to sort of revolutionize the loyalty program, rewards card business? There's a lot of talk about this new Chase Sapphire Reserve with the triple points on travel and all that. Do you think that since Square's technology first, mobile first, it could really revolutionize it, given I don't see a reason for me to use Square Cash if I'm getting more bang for my buck by using a card from a typical bank?
Yes, you mean the Chase Sapphire, if you're getting the Chase Sapphire, which is a favorite among the millennials, as I understand it.
Right, it put them $300 million in debt,
Yeah.
I read this morning. But, yeah.
Yes, but they should have everything they want, because, they're great. Anyway, sorry. I always call
Did you just want to have a
No,
conversation?
not at all.
Bloomberg?
But I do call San Francisco assisted living for millennials, and I feel that you're a big part of it. Anyway, go ahead.
Yep, I always show up.
Yeah.
I always show up for more.
Man.
So we do have plans around Android Pay as well and Samsung Pay. We want to make it available everywhere. And in terms of rewards and loyalty, we're focused first and foremost on just provide simple utility that people want to use, and not worry about the incentive as much right now. And we're finding that's working. Like, getting rid of all the complexity and just having something that I can pick up, I know exactly how to use. I use it not only to pay for Netflix and Amazon and everything else I'm doing in the real world, but I'm also requesting money from my friends and sending money, and requesting money from my parents and sending money. It's just one place and it's easy. That's been our focus. So that's working as well. And it's working to a degree that we weren't really expecting, because we're over the past 3 months, we've been seeing ourselves at the top of the App Store charts every single day, which is awesome. So we bounce around from like number 60 to 100, and all over that place, but we're consistently in those top apps as Square Cash.
That's overall, or that's fine?
Overall,
That's fine. Yeah.
overall, and that was a huge moment for us to rise to that level, the same level that you see ESPN at, and Tinder and Lyft and all these other apps that are fairly mainstream. So Square Cash is right there, and it's been really great to see just that simple utility wins like that. So we're going to still push into that.
Quick follow-up, if I may. Sure. Have you given Apple a percentage of transactions that are made with the Square virtual credit card?
I
there a
don't believe
vague-
I can disclose that.
Yes, you can.
No.
Of course they do, but go ahead.
Hi there, my name is David Gadai. Kind of have a two-pronged question for you. Firstly, Square Cash, I recently signed up free money, basically, because of the referral program. So that was the main incentive for me to sign up. PayPal
You're welcome.
famously, thank you very much, loved it. PayPal famously used that as one of their early growth hacks and kind of ran into a wall. So wondering how you look at it differently in terms of just the free money ecosystem. And then secondly, trying to connect the dots to all the products. Are you using the cash balance in Square Cash to fund Square Capital?
It's a good question.
No, we have church and state around the funds and where they sit. Capital, we keep some of capital loans on our balance sheet so that we can feel, what it looks like and all the pains of how the economy moves and whatnot. But the majority of it's through third-party investors, and we sell the loans. And then sorry, what was the first part of your question?
First question is the concept of free money.
Ah,
You were making a comment.
the referral.
Is there experience
So-
of driving downloads, but maybe it was
Yeah, we have Roloff, who was a CFO of PayPal, on our board, and he was responsible and oversaw all these programs at PayPal. So we've learned a bunch from him, and the team's done a really good job at balancing the referral program and also building a business that thrives and that can pay for itself. So I feel like we have a really good control where that doesn't go out of sync. And we're in a position where every new person coming on makes sense for the business, and we're not in this state where we have to worry about that at all.
What are you doing with the money that's being held in Square? If someone decides for whatever reason to hold their money in Square Cash, what are you doing with that money?
We store it at our bank, so our partner bank. It's all right there.
Another question back here.
Roll Tide.
Hi, I was wondering. Oh, okay. I'm Jeremy Huff, and I'm from Hello World Engineering.
Why did you have to read that off here?
Yeah, I had to look down at.
I don't believe you now.
And why are you wearing a bow tie?
Well done, Jack.
I was wondering if you could comment on the Amazon Go announcement from yesterday. I've thought about that announcement in the light of Square Wallet and Square Order, in that they're all concerned about improving the customer experience of your customers. And I was also wondering about both Apple Pay and you were talking about this tap economy, and in the Amazon Go version, you just walk out, and that's not even a part of it. So where do you see the future of that going, and can you comment on that?
I think I saw a tap to walk in actually on the commercial. I think it's awesome. I was really excited to see it. It is an experience that we want, and I think for Square Wallet, like we had tens of thousands of people using it, and the ones that used it every single day, and they loved it. But the challenge was scaling it to more merchants, and we had a pretty small merchant network at the time, and it only worked if we had merchants using it. And payments is always hard because you have to consider both sides of the equation, and you have to move both at once. So we decided that just being able to walk in and say your name wasn't enough utility at the time. And it was one of the reasons why Square Cash made sense, because there is real utility in peer-to-peer money transfer. And potentially, you can imagine an experience that builds off of that with Square Cash as well that is very similar. But we've taken a lot of that effort, and we built a product called Card on File in Square Register. So it's the same idea, but you can actually leave an open tab at any merchant using just our register software. So you don't actually need anything but your name and that merchant's trust to open up your tab. So that's something we still are fascinated by, and something we still want to have as an experience and bring into the world more.
How much of the we is something you want to bring into the world versus like company at large?
Oh, it's the company at large. I'm not a solo operator here. It's something that was probably a little bit too early in terms of the technology adoption, certainly our adoption. But the company loved using it. We just didn't love that it wasn't growing in the way that we expected it to. And the company certainly remembers everything that was there and how magic it was. And it was a good experience. So it's something striving that we need to constantly optimize for.
There's one over here. You? Yeah. We're going to do two more, I think. First this guy, then this guy. Here. You.
Oh, he's got one. He's got a mic, so we're going to go.
You answered my question to Square Wallet. I guess I just confess my love to Square Wallet. It was an amazing app.
He's
Thank you.
confessing his love to you.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zach Goldstein from Thanks. The Square Register was originally quite a closed system. There have been other point of sales that are completely the opposite, fully open APIs, app stores, et cetera. Things have changed some. I'm wondering what you can share about how that's evolving, opening it up a little bit, the growth of Register. Do you see it moving more that way? What is that landscape going to look like?
Yeah, so we opened up our platform. Well, we've been opening it up for over the past 2 years, and we've seen a lot of great adoption on that. Our number one app is QuickBooks. So people hook up QuickBooks right up to their Square Register, and QuickBooks actually has been promoting Square Register and our card payments tool as well. So it's a nice balanced ecosystem. So recently we opened almost everything up. We opened our hardware up as well, and that's been awesome for us. It's super early, but we enable anyone to actually use our Apple Pay and EMV reader and build a point of sale around it, and that does well for us because that means we don't have to build all the eccentric, very niche points of sale that merchants need, but we're still carrying the payment. We can still introduce folks to our broader ecosystem like Square Capital, and it just opens more doors, and it allows us to learn really quickly. So we're definitely going to open up everything that we have in whatever way that makes sense, and that's all of our products as well. Caviar, Capital, Cash. We want to have more of a platform mindset and API mindset around all these things.
All right. I'm going to end on two very short questions. One, and this is a compliment I'm paying you. You put women in positions of real authority at your company, which is highly unusual for Silicon Valley. Can you talk a little bit? Because I think every one of your biggest jobs, Jackie in Capital, Sarah, Francoise, and now you've hired Hillary, and then talk about that just for a second, because it's unusual, sadly.
Yeah, it is sad that it's unusual. So our head of engineering and register business, our CFO, our GC, Jackie, who runs Capital, and our head of business team are all women. So half of my staff is women, and 80% of the company report up to those 5 women. It's we were looking for great people, and we found them, and those are the people that we picked, and it's just been amazing for us in terms of the conversation that we have in the room. I don't know. There wasn't any particular secret sauce to it.
Were you trying, actually trying, or?
No, we went after like the people that we thought were phenomenal, and these are the people we came up with, and they are phenomenal.
Yeah, and lastly, you're a very thoughtful person. I consider you one of the more thoughtful people. There aren't that many. It's a low bar in Silicon Valley. But you are. How do you look at Silicon Valley right now, sort of as we enter this new age of Trump, of a different country? Where is Silicon Valley going to be? Because it's been largely left out of the Trump discussions. We were texting all sorts of tech people today of if they were going to the tech summit, and pretty much all the leaders haven't even gotten invitations, the people we consider leaders. What do you imagine the next couple of years are going to be like for Silicon Valley, which is sort of seen riding high for the past couple of years? Or what do we have to do? Because a lot of people feel the election was a reaction against elites, and that would be you, me, the rest of these people. Well, not that guy.
Not me, definitely not me.
You're such an elite. Anyway.
Well, I mean, I think, look, I'm from Missouri. I spent till I was 19 years old in St. Louis, Missouri, and my parents always stood by the city. And I think the most important thing is that, where most of us came here. I came here for the energy. Like San Francisco, I don't spend much time down in Silicon Valley. I spend time here in the city, and San Francisco to me always had this like really amazing, radical, revolutionary edge to it. It emanated from Berkeley and emanated from Haight Street. This was a place where things changed, and the city changes every single decade. This city changes every single decade. So it's always been a city of transition. It's always been a city of change. It's always been a city of radical thought and revolution, and that's why I came here. But by coming here, we can't forget where we came from, and I think the most important thing in this time and what we learned, no matter what the outcome of the election, this country is hugely divided, and we're not talking with each other, and we're certainly not talking with the places like I came from in Missouri, and we need to spend more time really understanding what problems we're actually trying to solve, and are they solving the problems? And we can't just say that we're going to have those conversations. We actually have to build meaningful progress within those communities. So Square has an office of close to 250 people in St. Louis now. And we keep hiring, and we love it as an area. It's where we're from, and it's I was back there recently, and I asked a question. We have a lot of operational folks, we have a lot of support folks, and we have a lot of compliance and risk folks back there. And I asked a question like, if we offered training for programming, who would take it? Every single person put their hand up and said, I want to learn how to code. I want to learn how to design. I want to learn how to build products. And we're doing it. We've started that program, and that makes me really proud, because that means we're actually hearing the real problems of what's happening in this country, and we're actually providing solutions for it. So I think we need to get out of our bubbles, not just of technology, but of our locations, and recognize why we came here in the first place and where we came from, and make sure that we continue to serve that community and that community where we came from. So that's how I'm approaching it, and whatever I can do, physically, we're going to do, and that's why the office is so meaningful to me and to my family. My parents just visited it yesterday, so I would love us to do more of that, to give back to where we came from, but more importantly, just have a conversation with your parents and your grandmother and your grandfather about what they think and what's going on and what's hard, and what are the tough problems. And I think Square is solving one of those tough problems, which is I don't know if there's a bigger problem than economic disparity in this country and around the world, apart from the environment. Like, it's core to everything.
All right, on that note, Jack Dorsey.
Thank you.